he literally just went down pretty damn bold and sat down at a student's desk who was on break and started rifling through the guy's range bag.
Wow.
While we're in the class. And, this is my first time there. I wasn't really paying that close attention. I was just talking to an instructor and things like that.
So, a few years ago when San Diego County gun owners got the sheriff to start issuing CCWs, I was inundated with all kinds of different folks from different industries who wanted to capitalize on the CCW, the fact that they were issuing, which is great. But I'll tell you, one company that really rose to the top in a bunch of different ways and has stayed active and supportive in very real ways is USCCA. They've done an amazing job, and a huge part of that is our guest and my buddy, Adam Bendas.
What's going on?
Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, good to be back.
Really, truly, appreciate everything you do, man.
No, thank you. Appreciate that.
USCCA has done a great job of being very supportive in a bunch of different ways, but the reality is that's you. That's you making sure that they're doing everything they can to support the cause, really, but, the cause via San Diego County Gun Owners, via Gun Owners Radio, and it's helped so much, really. I mean, your competitors, you've had competitors who have come and gone, made a bunch of promises, and then I never hear from them again.
Shocking.
And you have been a stalwart ally the entire time. Is that the right word, Dave? Stalwart?
I think, hey, don't use my name.
Yes, Dave Stalwart.
I would think that your job is extremely rewarding.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people don't look at that from a job point of view, because you really want to have a job that you're helping people. Mm-hmm. And the worst case scenario is when you find out somebody doesn't have your services, and then they come to you.
Sure.
It's like,
which you've had people like that on the show.
How many times have people, gotten in trouble and then you heard about it and they weren't members? You know what I mean? They've come to you and they weren't members.
Way more than I comfortable with. That's what's kind of frustrating, too.
Ran out of fingers and toes.
Mine is way more minimal than yours.
Right.
Somebody will come to me and say, well, my tranny just went out. I said, well, you have a service contract?
Right.
Well, no, I don't. Well, why didn't you buy it? Well, it was $1,000.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? The tranny's going to cost you $4.
Yeah. No one's a felon.
Yeah, but in his situation,
Yeah.
You're going to go to jail.
Well, what's cool though too, but not to get off the topic, but talking about rewarding stuff. Because I'll give them a shout out because I just came from there literally right now. From if you guys, they're a supporter of you guys, Ramona Shootist Emporium.
Yeah,
little store out in Ramona. So this
guys.
is a super rewarding thing that we do. That's really cool. So they have a staff of 5 people, including the owner. Mm-hmm. We were able to, with our training manager Dave, who's here in town now as well. He's a training manager for USCCA for the West Coast. So what we did, because they were kind of wanting to offer classes. They get a lot of people come through the store buying stuff and all that, and people want to get classes and educated, and nothing really exists like that in Ramona. So what we were able to do was get them all certified as USCCA instructors. Wow. Which one cool thing about that is all the access to USCCA's curriculum and things like that. But when you actually go through the class, for example, there's a lot of also teaching how to be an instructor and do all that kind of stuff, which takes time and development and all that. But, to get to this point today, they had their first class. I mean, only a couple people, but it's just a couple people that are wanting to get into learning how to protect themselves and things like that. And so now they're full on hitting the ground, getting classes going for people out there.
Congratulations to
something like
Ramona.
that is super cool.
You guys are awesome.
And you're giving back because it makes you, because the more people that will train and help people,
yep.
Your goal one day is never have to do this again. Go fishing.
Right.
Well, so there's the product, the actual product,
Yeah.
but above and beyond that, USCCA is involved politically. You guys are involved educationally.
They were actually at the RNC, as a matter of fact, as the Second Amendment advocates.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, they got a big national pack.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
That they set up, which is awesome.
Are you at the DNC Monday?
I kind of doubt that.
So
Mike's going to be there.
So you guys are you've been sponsors at Gun Prom. You're going to be sponsors at Gun Prom again this year, which thank you so much. But you guys have been really, really super helpful. That we lost the gun show at Del Mar, and then some folks from Arizona came in and said, "Hey, we want to try to rebuild this on a different venue." And Rich has bent over backwards to make this thing happen through Gun Owners Radio, which is awesome. And you guys have been super supportive the whole time.
No, I think because I think what I've talked to Rich plenty about this. You know, the adding the layer of having classes and the symposiums and stuff like that. That is really cool.
Yeah.
To have that at the gun show. I mean, looking at the list, it's funny too. Pretty much everybody is partnered with USCCA in one way or another. So that adds another layer to of our partnerships literally across the country. Walk the Talk, for example, they're going to be at the gun show. That's actually a national level partnership with USCCA doing the mental health stuff between USCCA, for example, and Walk the Talk and people, psychologists actually that USCCA or Delta Defense actually employs. For instance, SB2, when that went in, that whole thing when they changed the curriculum, they added in CCW classes. Yeah, you have to have a mental health thing. Well, USCCA was able to come up with a curriculum kind of working with Walk the Talk and the psychologist that Delta Defense employs to give instructors, because they're all like, we don't know. What do you mean? What do you want us to talk about with mental health? Yeah. And of course, the government's like, well, we don't know. Just do it.
Yeah.
Like it always is. But that's another example of cool partnerships like that to giving more benefit to people, like you guys were saying. That's
awesome. So you get both mental health in these CCW classes, where they teach you how to, how the different gun laws and how to use your gun and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You get both mental health and mental health, right?
Exactly.
I've been waiting to say that. Okay, so let's talk about...
Should we laugh?
Yeah.
Make you feel better.
You guys know your sound bites like the drum?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But he wants the drums.
So some of the class, let's talk about some of the classes. These are actually the symposium speakers. Which means if you buy a ticket to the gun show, you get to see these speakers for free. There's no additional cost. There are lectures that are just for you for showing up. First one up is Gary Gibson. There's no better guy on this planet than Gary Gibson.
Love Gary.
Those are some of the even the seminars that we do on our own with partners. The legal seminars, always some of the best events that we put on.
Gary Gibson is an attorney. He is an absolute pit bull and a scholar. And the title of his talk is Lessons Learned from San Diego CCW Cases. And man, does he have some good lessons.
Absolutely.
And he's got some great victories. He's such a great guy. The other one is Intersection of Guns and Mental Health. We just talked about that. That's with Walk the Talk America. I guess they're sending a couple of folks to come out and talk about that. The intersection of guns and mental health. Great subject. Tricky subject. And I don't think we all have that completely figured out yet. You know what I mean? And it's something that the fact that we're working on it more and more, I think is really, really important. And you said you're partners with them on a national level?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, even for instance, the USCCA membership, I've talked about that plenty, how you get a lot of training and everything. There's actually an entire training section on mental health. You can log in and access actually with any level of membership and look at that kind of thing, if that's something you're needing or interested in.
Nice. How to get your CCW in 2024. That's our buddy Bill Deasy, who is from CCW USA. Things have gotten, they're different, but most of the changes are better, and they're continuing to get better. Mm-hmm. I think 2025 is going to be the best year yet when it comes to CCWs.
Yep.
Yeah, I think also that's a good one even too, because I still see it quite a bit talking to people. I think a lot of people, even with Bruin and everything too, a lot of people think they can't get a CCW. And I'm like, no, go apply, get one.
Mm-hmm. That was I got to say, so we got the policy changed before Bruin. We got the policy changed in the summer of 2017, mm-hmm. and well into 2019. We were struggling just to get people to apply. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't even apply, and then boom, it took off, and that was that. I mean, I get it. In 2017, 2018. People were getting their CCWs in less than a month.
Oh yeah,
because there was no wait time.
People still. I mean, still it's to this day, which is crazy. People still think like they can't get one,
right.
So then they don't try or don't even apply.
Yeah, which is we're at about, we just went over the 20,000 CCW mark, which is before the change it was at about 1,100. So we're up to 20,000, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. And but I used to say this in the classes all the time. If we had the same percentage of CCWs issued as is average across the country, we should be at about 150,000. And we're at 20,000. 20,000 is reason to celebrate. And Yahoo, let's get after it. But man, we got to get to 150,000 just to be average. Mm-hmm. So. Okay, so that's Bill Deasy. He's going to teach. Wow, this is a big title. Confronting the Darkness, and that's Raul Mendez. That's his story of stopping a mass shooter in Arizona. You remember that dude?
I do. I met him briefly at Gun Prom, actually. Didn't get a chance to talk to him too much, but yeah, no, he's a really cool guy.
What do you think of his story?
It's amazing. It's nuts. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
What do you think, Alicia?
I like his new eye.
What's his new eye?
Oh, he has you've not seen it?
No.
He had a casing, and like some type of resin.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah.
Like a
Instead of
9mm casing
yeah,
or
instead
something?
of and it hit the pupils like the primer. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
He's so great. He's such a great story.
Yeah.
And, Adam, I was saying a couple of weeks ago, we brought up Raul. The thing I like most about his story, obviously it's tragic, and I'm sorry he had to go through it. But
Right.
the thing I like most is he did what he needed to do, and he isn't like a SWAT team guy or a former Ranger or SEAL. He's just a normal guy who was at a house party, with his family and friends. He was just a normal guy who had bought a gun and was kind of into it. And he was still able, get training. And he believes that and is now a trainer, an instructor. But it really is proof positive that firearms, it's the ultimate,
Tool.
yeah, it's the ultimate tool. It levels the playing field.
Equalizer.
Great equalizer. So Raul's coming out just to do our symposium, and I can't thank him enough.
I think that's a good example too. I mean, to tie it back to, like, say, Gary, for example, because Gary can talk about his perspective as an attorney handling cases too. But it's also people relate and listen more to like real stories, and especially when they're just an everyday person that went through this. And now let's learn from that.
Wow, yeah. This is interesting. I like this. History of black gun ownership and the new faces of the industry. And that's a lecture from Brandy up in Riverside. What's her
From
what is it? Beretta Brandy, that right?
So Fortune Firearms, I believe, is
Yeah.
her company.
Up in Riverside,
Yeah,
right?
Brandy.
Is it Riverside or
Yeah,
San Bernardino?
she's Riverside. I think like outside Hemet area.
Okay.
I believe.
That'll be super interesting. She's a very interesting lady, and that's a fascinating topic. And you and I, Adam, have seen the interest in especially the San Diego black community when it comes to firearms ownership. So listening to Brandy.
Brandy's a great one to listen to.
Yeah. We're talking with Adam. We were going down the list. We were talking about some of these symposium guests, which is really interesting. We were just talking about Brandy Joseph, Beretta Brandy. She's coming down to talk about the history of black gun ownership and the new faces of the industry. I'm totally going to catch that. What day and time is that one? Do you have that one listed?
That one that's all up on the.
It's all up on the. So you go to gunownersradio.com/gun-show. So gunownersradio.com/gun-show.
2 on Saturday.
2 o'clock on Saturday. I'm totally going to catch that one. Okay. And then the teaching the next generation to defend the 2A, Second Amendment. I had somebody ask me, Adam, they were like, what does 2A mean? I'm like, really? Like, really?
Somebody guessing outside the industry.
No, they weren't in the industry. It was somebody. It was a gun owner though. They'd been a gun owner for like 10 years.
Interesting.
They went to public school, Mike. It's all right.
I mean, I get. So we have our 10 ring membership, and no one knows what 10 ring. No one. Everybody's like, what is 10 ring? What does that mean?
Well, I mean, there was just a story that kids in like high school can't tell analog clocks anymore either. So
Well,
who knows?
Now to
Trust
be
me, they can't even dial a phone.
Can't drive a
that
stick
has
shift
dial.
either. Oh, that's true.
Right.
It's true, Dave.
now to be
You're right.
fair, when my first time ever on the air it was around when Trump was going to go visit Kim Jong over in North Korea, and everyone kept in the promos of the radio. They said he's going to meet Little Kim, and I was thinking, oh, the rapper Little Kim. Why is he? So I felt like a fool then.
Well, I can forgive the 10 ring. That might be a little obscure, but come on, you got to know what 2A is. Okay, so on the symposium, Adam from USCCA, big part of sponsoring the symposium. Thank you so much. But the next one we're talking about is teaching the next generation to defend the 2A. That's Derek LeBlanc, and he's from Kids Safe Foundation. They're actually going to be there with BB guns to teach your kids, which is very cool. Teach all the 4 rules, proper handling of guns, and they're using a BB gun, and they have the little like a blow up, like a bouncy house, but it's a gun range. Yeah, for
Are
kids.
adults
Love it.
allowed
It's for
to
kids. It's a
participate,
bouncy house,
or-
but it's for kids. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, when's the last time you shot a BB gun, right?
It's been a while. I was thinking bouncy house sounds like fun though.
Yeah,
I know.
I wonder if we could talk them into like, hey man, after you're done, can we
Well,
go
like
bouncy
when,
house
like when the
around?
party's over, isn't that what they do? You take your shoes off and you go in the bouncy house.
Do a little bouncy house.
That's it.
She can break dance.
And they're doing that all week. They're doing that all weekend. So bring your kids. If you have, I'll tell you, if you're listening to this, you're probably already a gun person. So you already taught your kids. You already taught your grandkids. I know you have a coworker or a neighbor or your buddy's kids, you know what I mean? And they haven't taught their kids and they don't really know what to do. This is the perfect opportunity for you to say, hey, you know what? They got this Kids Safe Foundation coming to the gun show. It's in Escondido. So, hey, neighbor, coworker, friend, whatever.
The cost of a ticket.
Cost of a ticket. They're going to teach your kids, give them a nice, quick foundation. You know, hey, here's what it's all about.
Right.
And then we have Gary Gibson again. Boy, that guy's busy. And he's teaching the law of self-defense in California, which is...
How appropriate.
That's really appropriate. And then what's cool, though, too, is I imagine he'll probably talk about it. He can actually talk about where he's applied this in real life, in real cases, which is awesome.
Right.
Absolutely.
And it's tricky. What people don't really realize is California actually has... When it comes to self-defense laws with firearms, California is actually very good.
I learned a lot of that from Gary, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
About that kind of stuff.
But their district attorneys and their judges, not so good.
Right.
So they can actually take a bad situation or a good situation and make it bad. Now, not our DA. Our DA has been wonderful, Summer Steffen. We're very proud of the things that she's done, the partnership, or it's not a partnership, the feedback that she's taken and the changes that she's made and how she's adjusted to, going from 1,100 CCWs to over 20,000,
Well, one of those also was shout out to Gary again for mopping the floor with one of her deputy DAs in court.
Yeah.
I always like to throw that one out there.
So good. That's fantastic. That's wonderful.
Awesome.
But like sometimes they're tied by bad law. Even if there is good law, they can turn good law into a bad situation. There are people that are just frankly predatory when it comes to gun owners. I mean, I've long called the entire ATF from sea to shining sea is a predatory agency. They're not your friend. They're in no way supportive of the Second Amendment.
And that knowledge of what that side can do and tear you up is so critically important as to why you need a quality self-defense attorney.
Right. The other thing is,
you need someone to protect you.
I get so many questions like, "Hey, in this situation," they give me some vague situation like, "Can I defend myself?"
Every day.
Yeah, right. Can I defend myself if somebody does this? Can I shoot them? And I'm like,
That's why we always I actually it's another thing I picked up from Gary. The lawyer response is, well, it depends.
yeah,
Right.
always.
It depends.
You want to tell your story about being in Vegas?
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course I do.
And then I want to talk to our last speaker, but tell your story real quick.
You're talking about in the parking lot and all that?
Yeah, you were there for a class and
so it was actually when I first actually was getting started with Delta and USCCA. I rode out there to kind of shadow my buddy out there who does what I do out in Vegas. We went to a place called Range 702, still out there, a nice indoor range out there in Vegas, and we had basically a guy that was trying to acquire a gun. The class went on a break. He walked in during the break and sat down at a student's desk who was like getting some water.
Now, was he a student of this class or any affiliation at all?
Negative, not at all. So I tell this story at Discount Gun Mart, for example. So like 702 range, the way it was set up, I can picture it. It's still, it's like the end of the kind of the counter towards the range, and there's a door that goes into the classroom. So like anybody can kind of walk in and out. And so the class went on break. We're all kind of distracted. This dude he literally just went down pretty damn bold and sat down at a student's desk who was on break and started rifling through the guy's range bag.
Wow.
While we're in the class. And, this is my first time there. I wasn't really paying that close attention. I was just talking to the instructor and things like that. And the guy comes back and sees this random guy digging through his bag, and he confronts him. This turns into an altercation where we all kind of are stepping in the classroom like, what are you doing? And so some of the range staff kind of all gathered him, if you will, and called 911, who took, I remember, over an hour to get there.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it was great response time for a guy trying to steal a gun.
To a gun shop. Yeah. Great.
But and so this is online too. You can watch this whole video. So I tell people it's a very, very entertaining video in the second part, because then they go out. So we resumed class. So I was not out in the parking lot for this part, but we obviously heard everything after. Well, so what happened was when the police finally showed up to deal with that guy who was trying to take the gun, he turned into a physical fight. He pulled a screwdriver out of his pants. He started stabbing the police officer, hit her multiple times in the face even, like in the temple. And so they're fighting and everything, and her partner draws his gun, and there's 3 range staff, including an instructor, plus another random guy in the parking lot who also all drew their guns, and they all shot this dude in the parking lot.
He's no longer waterproof.
Yeah, I think we heard like 14 times is what he got shot. I don't know how accurate, but it's hard to tell.
I mean, he had to have been. You got to wonder, like he had to have been crazy.
Probably on drugs.
But something off. I remember. I remember literally standing face to face with him in the classroom. There was obviously not all there. Something was a little off, and he also had something else. You get into politics. He had a long record of violent crime, and he's out there still doing his thing. Not anymore, but at the time.
That's crazy. What's that like, though? What was it like being there witnessing that?
It's kind of so.
That'd be surreal. First,
yeah, but you weren't outside with the group.
No, but what the funny thing about that though, we resumed the class, and my buddy was kind of doing a portion of it, and then the class then led into the lunch break. And that's when we find out, because one of our guys, I can't say exactly what he said because we're on the radio, right. But he comes back and tells it. He goes, "Oh my, come out of here! Oh,
couldn't
my
you hear
God.
the 14 rounds? Or?
No, because we're next to the range,
so
so you're hearing the normal range noise anyway.
So you just figured.
So he comes out and he's like, "Come here! Oh my God!" And we walk out, and 702. I remember too. It's also the front of it's glass windows, all that. You look out, and we walk out there, and we see the guy's body laying there in the parking lot, and more cops and everything like that. We're like, "What in the world happened?" And we actually had to stay there too. We were stuck there for hours. We all had to give statements and testimony and all this kind of stuff.
Hey, let me guess.
What? Guess what?
Sam the gunman's not calling in tonight.
Yeah. Yes. Correct.
Thanks for telling me.
We talked about it about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, we did.
That's okay. That's all right.
I was about ready to break in.
No, I should have clarified. My apologies. Sam's not calling in today, so we're going to continue on talking to Adam about all the interesting.
Well, then let's
things
ask him the question.
No. We want to save the question for
anyway.
next week. But what I do want to do is talk about our last, save the best for last speaker for the symposium. Somebody is going to talk about concealed carry lifestyle for women, and that is our very own Alicia Curtin.
Yeah,
is that a curtain call?
We might have a little bit of fun in there.
You guys, you really need the drum sound.
I know.
Put it on your watch.
Are you going to break dance?
We'll see. I got to do some warm up. We got to practice. Yeah, we're talking about everything for the the concealed carry lifestyle choices for women. Equipment's going to be different. Carry options are going to be different. Mindset.
So you're bringing a lot of gear.
A little bit of everything. Yeah, a little bit of mindset, a little bit of gear. All the things rolled into one for that 1 hour. 50-minute talk.
Well, everybody's got it. Only how much?
Well, it's a 50-minute talk. Free with your cost of the
15,
ticket.
And there's no way you can do that.
No.
Got to be at least 50.
Talk really fast.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. If you're watching mainstream media, you're not getting the truth about guns. Gun Owners Radio is the easiest way to stay on top of the Second Amendment fight, the fight for your self-defense rights. You can watch our live stream on YouTube every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, or if you're in San Diego, AM 1170, FM 96.1, The Answer. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Gun Owners Radio and you'll find our show. Like and subscribe to help defend and restore the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.